Our Torah portion this morning, Parshat Emor, it's filled with boundaries, distinctions. Ben Kodesh Lechol, between the sacred and the ordinary, the priests and the people, weekdays and Shabbat, regular days and holidays. It outlines the special responsibilities of the Kohanim, the priests, sets the calendar, and ultimately gives us the most sacred day we have, Shabbat, the seventh day. 6 days you should work, it says, and on the seventh day rest. Behind all of these rules, all of these distinctions, these differences, there's a lesson, a deep lesson. Judaism is not meant to be lived in solitude. It's not a religion with the sage up on a mountaintop or cloistering yourself away in a monastery. It's not about retreating from the world, but living in it, finding a way to balance the regular and the sacred, finding a way to bring holiness into life, holiness into the world. And that's where our ideals really get tested. There's a great story in the Talmud. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, after criticizing the Roman Empire, he's forced into hiding. For 12 years, he hides in a cave with his son. There's a carob tree to feed them. They have water. They bury themselves underground up to their heads, so that way their clothes won't wear out. They don't have to wear them. And they sit there all day long, just heads above the sand, studying Torah. After they finally leave the cave, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is upset. He sees people out in the world not studying Torah, just going about their days. And so he gets so angry that his eyes shoot a fire that spreads, and God sends him back into the cave because he came out simply to destroy the world. The lesson is that holiness without compassion can be cruel. Spirituality and sacredness devoid of the world, of real life, is dangerous. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's vision had become absolutist, disconnected from life. He had forgotten that Torah isn't just found in the cave, but it's out in the fields where he saw people working. It's in the streets, it's in the home, it's in the classroom. It's everywhere. It's the message of Shabbat too, I think. Shabbat is a sacred time. It's only one day a week. There are those maybe that would like to do Shabbat every day. But the commandment isn't just to rest on Shabbat, but sheshet yamim ta'aseh melacha, that 6 days you have to work. 6 days we have to be engaged in the world. We can't just cloister ourselves away. Judaism is about sanctifying time, but doing so doesn't mean leaving our lives behind, but bringing meaning into it. And that gets us to the point I really wanted to talk about today, Israel. For 2,000 years, Israel was an idea. It was a dream, it was a prayer. It was in our imaginations. Next year in Jerusalem, we would say. Next year in Jerusalem. Israel was this ideal world, a place perfected, because it wasn't real. It wasn't perfect. Real ideas are never perfect. Real life can't be perfect. Israel is the ultimate test of Jewish values, not in a book, but in a state, in a nation. A state has politics, it has policies. By its very nature, it's imperfect. The state of Israel is our collective experiment. Can we take the values of Torah, of justice, of compassion, of dignity and peace, and live them out on the national stage, on the world stage? That's what Theodor Herzl understood when he convened the first Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland, in 1897. And let's be clear, it was a fringe idea. It was not universally accepted. In fact, he would have held it in Munich, but the rabbis, Reform, Orthodox, Conservative, they all gathered together to prevent that. They saw it was a radical, dangerous, absurd idea to imagine a state of Israel being created. But Herzl didn't flinch. He gathered over 200 delegates. He insisted they wore top hats and white bow ties. not just to impress the world, but to convince ourselves that what we were doing was something real. Just like the halls of Congresses around the world, so too the Zionist Congress would be professional, would be legitimate. He wanted the story to go from the margins to the center. After that first Congress, he wrote in his diary, "At Basel, I founded the Jewish state. If I said this aloud today, I'd be greeted with laughter. In 5 years, perhaps, certainly in 50, everyone will recognize it." 51 years later, the world did. In 1948, David Ben-Gurion stood in Tel Aviv and declared the establishment of the modern state of Israel, connecting those dots from Basel to Ben Yehuda Street, from a dream to reality. But again, reality is where dreams become difficult. They become messy. But what Herzl did wasn't just to dream. He brought politics into it. He embraced the Zionist vision, this prayer, this ideal, making it real. He taught us an important lesson, that politics rooted in purpose can be holy. Politics doesn't always have to have a bad connotation. Politics, when done right, can be sacred. Because that's what our tradition teaches. We can bring the sacred into everyday life. And so I bring all of this up because very shortly, there's an important thing happening that most of us probably don't know about. Most of us probably haven't heard about. Because for the first time in almost 2 decades, Canadians are being invited to vote in the World Zionist Congress. In the upcoming election, it's not a poll, it's not a survey, it's not symbolic, it's a real election that makes real difference in our world and in the Zionist vision. A little bit of background, every 5 years, the World Zionist Congress holds elections. And representatives of those who vote get sent to participate in this organization, in the Congress. And the Congress makes real life important decisions. Decisions that shape the future of Jewish life around the world and in Israel. One of the organizations that the World Zionist Congress oversees is the Jewish Agency for Israel. They oversee Aliyah, youth movements, shlichim, the Israeli emissaries that are sent out to camps and schools around the world. They have a $500 million annual budget, and 50% of their board is appointed by those who win power in the World Zionist Congress. Keren Hayesod, the United Israel Appeal, which raises funds for immigration, integration, development, projects of the Zionist movement. Its board seats also, 50% of them are chosen by the World Zionist Congress. But most important of all, I think, Keren Kayemet LeYisrael, the Jewish National Fund, which has an annual budget in Israel of over $2 billion. So between this election and the next election in 5 years, that's $10 billion that'll be allocated to different causes. 100% of its board is determined by these elections. Their money comes because they own 17% of the land in Israel. Almost 1/5 of the land in Israel is not owned by the government or by the people that live there. It's owned by the Jewish people around the world, because that was the vision of this organization. This land belongs to all Jews. Each of us, our children, our grandchildren, are part owners. When Dr. Yizhar Hess, the vice chairman of the World Zionist Organization, visited our synagogue a couple of weeks ago, he made an important point. That if you don't vote, you're actually voting. Apathy isn't neutral, it gives your voice away. It gives our voice away. In the last election in 2020, for the first time, an ultra-Orthodox group had a majority in the World Zionist Congress. And they were very clear in what their mission was to make sure that funds were diverted from pluralistic causes, from egalitarian causes, from movements that weren't Orthodox, to better support the ultra-Orthodox in Israel. Money would be taken from programs like sending North American high schoolers, university students to Israel experiences instead to support yeshivot, and those who don't serve in the army. An election's coming up. You may have read about it. It just happened in the United States. Next month in June is the election here in Canada. Registration to vote in that election will be opening later this week. You can go to mercaz.ca and get more information. See how you can sign up to vote. All you have to do is be over 18, be Jewish. There's a small registration fee that helps cover the administration of it and prevent fraud. But then you get to vote. You get to have your voice heard in the most important Jewish project there is, Israel, our homeland. To help make sure that the dream of 2,000 years, now that it's a reality, is the reality that reflects not one group, but all the Jewish people around the world. As part of voting, you affirm the Jerusalem program, the foundational document of the Zionist movement. Just part of what it says is this: Zionism views a Jewish, Zionist, democratic, and secure state of Israel to be the expression of the common responsibility of the Jewish people for its continuity and future. It seeks to shape Israel as an exemplary society, rooted in the vision of the prophets, striving for peace and contributing to the betterment of the world. It's up to each of us to make sure that that's the Israel that exists, that our voice is heard, that our values are represented. We don't get to cloister ourselves away in synagogues, in Shabbat. Sheshet yamim taseh melacha. We have to go out into the world. We have to bring Judaism into the world. Not just talk about our values, but live them. In this case, vote them. Shabbat Shalom.